On the 21st of July 2019, we start our road trip from Austria to Iran with our BlueBird Mercedes Sprinter camper, accompanied by Tara, our white Swiss Shepherd lady. We are going to drive from Klosterneuburg in Austria via Hungary, Croatia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Montenegro, Albania, Greece, Turkey, Georgia, Azerbaijan till we reach Iran, and then back over Turkey, Bulgaria, Serbia, Hungary, Austria to our hometown in Klosterneuburg. So, let us start the first part of our trip now. We drive through Hungary with just a little lunch break so we can reach our first campsite in Croatia on time. The place beside the river Drau is very nice and secluded, surrounded by high trees, lots of birds, swans and hungry mosquitoes. Heavy thunderstorms and rain just above our heads gives us the right atmosphere to enjoy our self-made dinner with Austrian beer, wine and music.
Dat is völlig gesund.
Oh ja. In the morning, the weather is beautiful, the rain is gone, the sun is shining, and we take a bath in the river Drau. The name of the country is Bosnia-Herzegovina. In reality, as we see and understand it, it is separated into Srpska, Bosnia and Herzegovina. The wounds of the war in the 90s are still obvious, present in the people and buildings, signs and houses with bullet holes, abandoned, devastated, between new and refurbished houses, surrounded by beautiful nature.
Dobro večer, djevojče, ona meni, doj do večer, doj do večer, dil večer. Ona meni, doj do večer, doj do večer, dil večer. Ja ne dođem.
Jac is a very nice town with an old history. Walking up to the ruins of the castle is a really big challenge under this hot sun. It's a bit stressy to navigate Tara through all the tourists, mainly from Arabic countries, who are afraid or not used to dogs. And it's great to get some cool water breeze at the bottom of the waterfall, a real rain shower.
Ja joj nazva, dobro večer, dobro večer, djevojče, ona meni, doj do večer, doj do večer, dil večer.
Blagac, famous for its Dervish monastery, founded in the 15th-16th century, located beside the spring de Lubune with ice-cold water coming out of the mountain. The Dervish monastery's location is beautiful. I wonder how the dervishes coming a long way from the far Middle East found this mystic place. Men and women have to cover their so-called important parts before entering the monastery. Sadly, nowadays the mystery is gone due to the tourism. Underneath the monastery beside the river are many restaurants, shops and of course many tourists, mainly from Arab countries. On our planned route are the famous waterfalls of Kravica, 120 meter wide and 28 meter high. What a disappointment to find hundreds of visitors packed under this beautiful location. But Hosain, keen to participate wherever he can, has a dip in the cold lake. After this crowd, we need a quiet place to stay overnight. At the river Nebretna, far away from a town, is a nice clean place. We have a very good dinner at the local restaurant about 90 minutes away, but then we walk back and arrive in the dark at our camp. I don't feel well arriving in the dark, in a completely unknown area in a foreign country. In the morning everything looks different with the sun shining and a lonely melon passing by in the river. Lustitia Bay is a tourist project from Orascom ODH, the same developer who built Elguna, our hometown, at the Red Sea in Egypt. After visiting the new development, we definitely can say we prefer Elguna. Shkodër at Skutarile, we want to visit Rozafa Castle from the 4th century before Christ. Now the adventure starts. We try to park our van beneath the hill to walk up to the castle, but no parking, so a friendly man advises us to drive up to park. The narrow, steep street with cars coming down is already a challenge, but reaching the dead end gives us shockwaves. No place to turn. It takes us nearly half an hour on a slippery, steep, narrow street. With the help of many helpful Albanians and my good driver Hosain, to park the van into a suitable position to be able to return back. Near the sanctuary we find the perfect place to stay overnight, near a good restaurant with delicious food and good wine. In the night a powerful thunderstorm and heavy rain occurs, but we feel safe and cozy in our van. Next morning we find ourselves standing in a little pond filled with rainwater, surrounded by thick fog and only 16 degrees. Very mystic. After the fog lightens, we decide to take advantage and drive down the mountain to Croatia to our next destination, Part1. But on the way down, the street is blocked by a huge rock that came down due to the heavy rain. We were lucky that we didn't pass by earlier at that time. The workers did their best to open a narrow passage to let us pass. With belly edge, we drive through with the fear that more rocks could come down. The street leading to Cap Rodon is another small adventure, but offers us a beautiful nature with wild turtles crossing. Direct at the beach is a small church from the 12th century dedicated to Saint Antonius. The location and her simplicity is beautiful. The beauty and aura of this area is also a perfect place for wedding photos, just disturbed only by several bunkers from the rule of Enver Hoxha. The night we spent in a little clean camping Saint Michel on a terraced hill with a nice view over the sea. The castle of Bastova, founded in the 6th century, is located north of Durrës. We are astonished that nobody is there, although it is in a very good condition. Tara, without fear of snakes and high walls, climbs up to examine with us this abundant treasure. Nearby the castle, we take a rest at the recently cleaned up beach, before the journey takes us to Berat. Berat, designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2008, comprises a unique style of architecture with influences from several civilizations. The river Osum flows unregulated through the city of Berat, with its beautiful houses located on the hills left and right of the river. The road to the canyon of the river Osum is another challenge with its narrow street, especially when a truck or bus in full speed comes around the corner. But the amazing views are worth this challenge. We find a beautiful place down just beside the river Osum and decide to make another 2-day break. Also a good opportunity to wash some clothes, make friends and just chill and explore the surroundings. Nicht ins Auto. Wo ist der Ball? So, jetzt schwimmen.
Geh, Tara, geh schwimmen.
Ruf die Tara. Jene Gakon?
Geh schon, Tara. Geh schon. Ich will, dass du da auf der anderen Seite kommst.
Jetzt bin ich okay.
Na, jetzt da raufgehen. Das ist interessant.
Ja, war ich vorher schon.
Ja?
The coast road after Vuno towards south is really breathtaking. Driving up the mountains to Lugano Pass on 1027 meters and steep down again is not easy, neither for us nor for our BlueBird, but we all enjoy this experience. What an amazing nature Albania has to offer. Near Himare, in Lavic Beach, we choose a camping Cranea, which is good enough to stay for one night beside the sea, but no comparison with our last camps in the mountains. Especially the mosquitoes here are horrible and no air in the night, so hot. After an uncomfortable night, we drive further on towards Sarandi, where the beaches are nicer, wilder and not crowded. It should be great to do a sailing trip along the coast of Albania. So many amazing bays and shores that can only be visited from the sea. Driving further on, we see while driving through this little village Shen Vasil by chance a sign leading to the Austrian soldiers' cemetery. With the help of a friendly resident, we finally find the cemetery from the World War I. The Blue Eye is a spring with clear cold 12-degree water, coming constantly out of the deep. Till today only 50 meters down the hole have been discovered. The water is so cold that I can only dip my feet in for a few minutes.
Sve djevojke, bembašanke, na kapi stajahu. Samo moja, mila draga, nademirli penđe.
Gjirokastra, situated on a hill guarded by a huge castle, is a nice city. The houses and pavements in the old city have been renovated very nice. In 1961, the old city was declared as a museum city and is now visited by a lot of tourists. After visiting the center of Gjirokastra, we look for a nice camping but don't like any of the three, so we decide to camp in a nearby park beside a lake, but now in summer it is nearly dried out. There are lots of birds, some storks and loads of water snakes and frogs in muddy areas. Good that we just see the snakes before we leave in the morning. The park is very well kept and a popular place for the residents of Gjirokastra.
Der ganze Tee hat ihm dann jetzt auf seine Nacken gestoßen.
Tara, as usual, finds a good friend to play with. Big love. We just hope that she doesn't get ticks as she got from her stray friends in Awesome Canyon. Absolutely worth to drive the way up to the village Labova Ekririt to visit the Byzantine church dating back to the 6th century in such a small village with only 50 residents, a jewel in the mountains of Albania, the perfect highlight to end our trip in Albania before driving further on to Greece. On the 3rd of August, after 2 weeks and 2,045 kilometers, part 1 of our trip ends at the border of Albania to Greece. Join us again in part 2, where we will continue our road trip to Iran, starting from Greece.